September is considered National Suicide Prevention Month, and in light of that, All Elite Wrestling has collaborated with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention to produce these short form segments featuring the likes of powerhouse Will Hobbs and Eddie Kingston to talk about the stigmas surrounding mental health. I don't know if you've seen these segments or these vignettes, but I just wanted to ask you, how important is it that wrestlers, and more specifically wrestlers of color, are talking about mental health issues and removing the stigmas from them, especially in the world of professional wrestling?
I love that that is a thing. It should have been a thing from a jump. I just find it just the timing a little hypocritical. Um, you said that they use Hobbs and they use Eddie Kingston as the faces
Yeah.
for it, or at least the representatives for it. Um, I just wouldn't have went with Hobbs considering Big Swole literally went on a separate interview about how her time in the company and the way the talent, black women were being treated impacted her, and for the reason why she wanted to depart from the company. And then you had your white knight over here, Hobbs, just interjecting himself into um, the feud with Tony Khan and Big Swole, and he immediately defended Tony Khan. And he probably has a different experience with Tony Khan or his time in AEW, but he did dismiss the feelings and the experience of what a black woman went through in the company.
Hmm.
So that was a very interesting choice to go with Hobbs. I definitely would have utilized somebody else, but um, Tony Khan does have his it people, and he probably just that's just the representative he wanted to go with. But in terms of like the grander scheme of things, I think it's very important that we take not just like black people, but I feel like a lot of ethnic cultures in general um do need to have a higher focus on mental health in the wrestling business, because it just always feel like it's skewed towards the white people, like not for nothing. Like I
Hmm.
noticed this with the Asian community, the Indian wrestlers that we had in like interviews I listened to, especially yes, the black community, Latino community. I do feel like, a lot of groups are marginalized and they don't have their feelings or anything pertaining to them taken consideration. So I think that's an amazing move. Um, and I hope that if Tony's gonna go about this, he stands on it, because in previous times, I don't even think it's been a year entirely. I think that incident that I just mentioned was about 9 months ago.
Mm.
So I hope that if he's gonna go with this, he stands on this, because I believe everyone could change and grow. But again, he really needs to stand on this if he's going to promote mental health for everyone, especially for the black community. Because I see so many black talent go through it, man, and it's so sad, because it's to a point where you're in a business where you kind of have to kiss ass and deal with the politicking, and bend your own morals and your own beliefs for the sake of keeping your job sometimes,
Mm.
because they do not care. They do not care for us. At the end of the day, they're almost like numbers, which
Mm.
is sad 'cause I don't view them as numbers, but in the eyes of a promoter or a boss or whatnot, it's just like, oh, well, you're not feeling well. Okay, well, if that's your reason why you want to take time off, like, Vince McMahon has done to other talent, they're going to kick you to the curb while you're taking your time off and go plug someone else. And then if the crowd likes them, strap the rocket to them. All right, now you lost your opportunity. And it's hard.
Hmm.
They deal with a lot of stress. It's a sport where you got the pressure on, your body physically. Every single time you go in there, you're putting your body at risk for having injury or complications, or all those little bumps that you take add up until until later on in life, to where you start moving funny and shit.
Yeah.
It's mentally exhausting because you're constantly having to um, deal with deal with a space where the crowd dictates basically, do you get booked or not.
Hmm.
You have to force other people to like you. And that's hard. All right.
Yeah.
That's hard to every single day, between you showing up to work and then reading on social media what crazy things that people say about you. That has to be mentally exhausting on top of
Hmm.
just doing your job correctly. So I would want that across the whole entire board for everyone's mental health to be taken into consideration.
Mm.
Um, and I also think that fans need to take consideration the feelings of towns as well, because I do feel like we put a lot of pressure on them. You know, we're so caught up in wanting to see certain matches and certain views, and this person to go to this company, this person to go here, that we don't like. We kind of forget that these people are just regular ass people like you and I. They're just
Hmm.
on TV making more money than us, doing
Right.
something cool as shit. But they're still regular people, and I do feel like we kind of dehumanize them. So I like that this gives them a platform and they may have an outlet. I don't know how he plans on going about this. If these people have counselors and therapists in the back that they can refer to, you know, is there something I don't know how their medical insurance works over there, but
Mm.
I think it'd be lovely if they have an outlet to go to. What do you think?
I think to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, I think that this is very important, not just necessarily for the pro wrestlers, because I do agree with everything that you're saying with there as it pertains to like them making sure that they have counselors and then making sure that they feel seen and that they feel heard and that they're taking their mental health seriously. um I just think that the aesthetic and the representation of it is just so powerful, and that's the reason why when we talked about the incident with Big Swole and kind of Powerhouse Hobbs interjecting himself into that, do I agree with what he did? Absolutely not, because I think that he dismissed the valid feelings and experiences of a black woman. Um, However, seeing a guy that's 6'4", damn near 300 pounds, talk about it's okay to cry, that's going to mean a lot to the black man watching on TV who may be struggling with coming to terms of his feelings and his emotions. The same thing with Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston, like, do be ready to fight at all times, and hearing him talk about mental health issues and telling people to push forward and that it gets better, that's important. And so I think that the representation on screen in that particular moment in time is a very, very important thing to see as a consumer, as a black man. Now as it pertains to wrestling, like you said, I feel like these wrestlers go through a lot, and I think that we get so caught up in them as performers that we forget that they're people. And I know that it's hard on them mentally, emotionally, and in some places more than others, right? Like you get guys who are in WWE who are on the road 300 days of the year. And then you have guys who haven't made it to WWE or an AEW, and they're just doing stuff on the indies and trying to make ends meet. And then you have guys in AEW um, doing their thing. And you know what I mean? Like, everywhere you look in the wrestling industry, it's going to take a toll on you mentally because every company is a different schedule and a different schedule is a different grind. Not to mention that the internet wrestling community is an entirely different monster on its own. And then you have to take into the account the criticism of that and how that weighs heavily on the average performer, because performers want to do their best for the fans. You understand, whether you're a heel or a baby face, if you're in this sport and you love it, you want to get a reaction out of the crowd. And so I think that this is a very, very important thing. This is a very, very important step. And I think that this is a very, very dope initiative that All Elite Wrestling is doing. And I want to see more of this. I would love to see more wrestlers come forth with stories, more black wrestlers, more black women come forward with this. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next.